Sonic X Episode 44. After pointless recap, the president worries because the press will have a field day with Eggman escaping prison. Yeah, it'll have a field day with that and not the fact that he shook hands with him in a photo shoot. We don't need the scene. At all. At least Rouge calls Eggman a worm who's hiding under a rock. Stewart is one of the people told to look for Eggman, and Rouge is bribed with potential jewels for looking for Eggman. It was amusing that she said jewels are bright and beautiful like her, and Topaz was annoyed. And it looks like Chris is right back to going to school with Helen and his friends. And he tells his friends that Sonic went for a pointless run again. Stewart paranoidly wonders if Eggman's hiding inside the tree trunk because it's so big, and he puts a stethoscope on it, and the robots jump out of the tree and run away. But for no reason at all, Stewart chooses to stay here rather than run after the robots who you'd think would have just attacked him. And Danny's impressed by his binoculars, which spot Eggman buying a book. It makes Stewart look needlessly incompetent that a kid spotted Eggman and not him. Stewart says capturing Eggman is too dangerous and it's a job for the police. And they all agree, even though Emerald is right there! And still hasn't shown any personality. So I refuse to believe the heroes would just agree to keeping him around. You'd think they would have just dismantled him for spare parts if he was just a silent machine. They have no reason to think he's not one of Eggman's robots. I always assumed that we would actually see the heroes all meeting Emerald for the first time and see their thought process behind them agreeing to let him spend time with them. Nope. So it feels like he's just here to promote a video game. The kids jump into Stewart's car, and we see Sonic being woken up on the roof because Chuck says Chris and his friends are missing. So Sonic takes off, and since it's America, I guess the kids are holding Stewart back because logically he'd just shoot Eggman with a gun. You'd think he'd have a license to kill. He's a government agent. Instead, Eggman magically disappears, and Stewart uses a stethoscope on the street and hears Eggman walking in the sewers with books. Stewart points out the staircase Eggman used to get in there, and somehow they all survived the car driving down the stairs. At least this is exciting. And somehow the car is able to transform to ride along the water. It should be obvious to the kids that this is no ordinary teacher by now. Somehow it's Danny who's scared of the lizard, while the girls think he's adorable and harmless. And Helen says she catches lizards, snakes, and bugs all the time. They really want to subvert expectations, even past the point of believability. It's so obvious that they won't capture Eggman because he's the main villain, and they're worthless because they're not Sonic, so they get captured in a net. And we see Rouge eating outside a restaurant, giving me flashbacks to issue 50 where she wasted a huge amount of precious space in the story at this exact place. She asks Sonic why he's running around. Why is he running around the same place over and over again? You'd think he'd be running somewhere else. And that Topaz wouldn't be eating at the same table as Rouge the Jewel Thief. We see the useless characters in a cell being bragged to by Eggman. The robots show Eggman a device of Stewart, and Stewart's trying to pretend he's not a spy in front of the kids. And the kids say he's too wimpy to be a spy, making fun of him because he's portrayed as way too incompetent in this show. It was kinda exciting that the kids finally found out he was a government spy. Helen says that Stewart was transferred and that's why he's not their teacher anymore. So we finally learned that, but why was he transferred? I guess because he wanted to stay with the kids during the Chaos Flood. The robots cry because they get no respect from Eggman and leave. It's impressive that they aren't like scratching ground or getting tricked into freeing them all. Instead, they leave rather than supervising them like they should, and Stewart lockpicks the door open. So they're just as incompetent as Scratch and Grounder, but at least they didn't literally open the door to their cell. Stewart mixes the acid in a bottle with the chemical in the brown bottle, and causes an explosion that magically opens the door. That felt very overly convenient. That was patronizing. I'd rather have Tails do this. He says he has to find the password to the electronic lock, and Eggman's face shows up to taunt him. It made me chuckle when Chris says that all he has to do is type in Eggman to open the door, and Stewart says it'd be too easy. Stewart thinks an explosion will happen if he types in the wrong one, and Helen wishes they could reach Sonic. Even if they did call him on a cell phone, how would he know where exactly they are in the sewers? Well, he'd still be able to go down into them and run around to find them in seconds. Maybe there isn't cell phone reception in the sewers. Helen says that Ella makes great apple pies in front of Bokun, so they talk about it to trick Bokun into telling Ella that they'll hear her. I hope Bokun will get some pie, because he'll deserve it as a reward for telling her where Chris is. So I'm sure he won't get the pie, because the writer will be mean to him. Sonic spins him around, running past him and makes him dizzy, and Bokun conveniently tells him he saw Chris in the sewers right away. It sure was nice of him to tell him that instead of just deciding to tell Ella to get the pie. Sonic says Ella will make him a strawberry shortcake if he delivers his message. Again, I really hope he does get that, because that'd be good writing rewarding a bad guy for doing a good thing. He tells Topaz that Sonic's in the sewer. Good thing Sonic thought to do this instead of thinking he didn't need backup. The kids get cornered by Eggman's giant insect mecha. Logically, they don't get killed, but since Sonic knows they're in the sewers, he makes the mecha smoke with one spin dash. Then the claw sends him into the wall and pins him to it. So good, Sonic does need someone's help. Rouge uses the screw kick to free him from the claw, and Emerald copies her ability. Sonic runs along the wall, dodging missiles somehow, and Emerald spin dashes through the door to open it. At least that's what it looks like. Then he spins around and destroys Eggman's mecha in one measly hit. Because that's exciting, right? It was a bit tense, but one measly hit isn't worth it. At least Sonic got in danger and needed saving for once in a blue moon. Eggman takes off with Sonic, making no effort to stop him, and the heroes all cough in smoke as they escape. They come home to Ella, and she says their friend's been waiting hours for them to come home. Oh good, he does get pie. That's brilliant writing. Good that he's being rewarded for helping them out. I was worried Ella still held a grudge against him for that last bomb. Maybe Bokun told her that he had the explosive obsession programmed out of him. She's not even mad at him. So this slow-paced episode was about Stuart trying to follow and capture Eggman, and somehow he thought he could do that with no actual equipment to do so. Like a device to shoot an electrified net at him, or glue, or a taser, or even a gun. So of course he fails, and he and the kids all need Sonic to bail them out. Fortunately, it's not just Sonic, as he needs Rouge and Emerald to bail him out, getting the mecha destroyed in a total of 2 hits. It was pretty cool that Stuart could get the kids to escape the cell with his spy gadgets, though. But it's a big problem when it took until a quarter of the way through the episode for it to get exciting. At least they tried to develop Helen and Danny's characters a little because Danny's scared of lizards, while Helen collects insects. But of course, the only one of the group who actually did anything was Stuart, making it totally pointless that they were even with him. I did love that Bokun helped Sonic find Chris, though. And not only is it refreshing that he did a good thing, but it was even better that Ella rewarded him for it. I thought for sure he'd get cheated out of the reward out of mean-spiritedness. Since he has an annoying voice, making him even more annoying by having him be a jerk to Sonic is just overkill. So I'd much rather see the cute robot sidekick help the heroes out in a twist. I wish this happened a lot more often. It makes sense because his sweet tooth makes him easy for them to bribe, and Eggman's not considerate enough to think of bribing him like that. Or not smart enough. Maybe if the heroes try to keep him on their side with sweets, Eggman will get him back anyways by one-upping them. Like he'd rob a candy factory for him. But I don't see why Eggman would consider Bokun such a big deal that he has to get him back at all costs. It'd make more sense for him to just build a new Bokun and try to destroy the old one for betraying him. Considering how much people other than Sonic get to help out and do stuff, like Stuart, Rouge, and Emerald, and even Bokun, this was a relatively good episode for filler. I just wish it wasn't so boring and plotting before Stuart's car drove down the stairs.